And welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Tuesday, November 9th, 2021, and today's topic is called Sky and Seek. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening November 3rd through the 5th, 2021, and this is show number 129. And before we get into those sky observations, I'd like to say good day, osio, hao, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobry, konnichiwa, dobrohonya, annyeonghaseyo, Boratarji, Dorbiden, Aloha Winala, Kalimera, Udenda, and good day. Now, today's starter image is not only the greetings from around the world page, but also combined with the words, wisdom, and spirit of the day. And in that vein, I drew a card from the Oracle of Hidden Worlds deck I got recently. The writings are attributed to Lucy Cavendish and the artwork to Gilbert Williams. So the card I pulled is number 33, The Gathering, Community, Kinship, Companionship. And I did, in the spirit of companionship, I put a couple of natural raw crystals from my own collection, Celestite, which can mean soothe the soul, and an amplifying crystal, the clear quartz. And the Celestite doesn't come off too well in this photo, but there are a lot of little sparkles that happen all over this thing, and it reminded me of this going on over here. Now, there are always positive and negative aspects to every number, and in this case, we are going to cover the very positive aspects of the number 33. Of course, on the flip side, there's some very, let's just say, evil things that can be done with the number 33. We are not going to look at those. So, the two little stars up here will address as the number 33, and that I have some angel number descriptions on the very last slide for this too. So in the meantime, I just want to read straight from the little guidebook that goes along with this deck, just an excerpt, it's only a partial, that, kind of explains this, and then we'll cover a little bit of the imagery maybe. So number 33, The Gathering, Community, Kinship, Companionship. When you gather, we of the hidden world see all about you, the connections you are weaving, the community and kinship. The relationships you create are not only woven from hand to hand, from heart to heart. You do not only stand together in a circle and reflect the shape of Gaia, the shape of stars, the shape of temples of stones, the nests of birds, the egg, the beginning, the zero. You gather together and weave into relationship the universe. The conscious intelligence that is the universe is supported by the relationships that are awakened in healing, that have at their heart desire to commune with each other in ways that create a fertile place for healing and understanding. Within the small circles of your life, the smile you offered for no reason, the kindness you lent without expectation of return, the offering to another who is experiencing lack, all create community, all create relationship, all create understanding. All are sacred, and all contribute to a place where the planet can be nurtured and fed by your higher self. There may be times when you gather in sacred ways, times when your footsteps trace those of your ancestors, when you wear the garments woven of stories. There, yes, it is sacred. But the spirit of this is held in your every action, word, movement, and it is there that the true work is done, bright soul. Reach out this day and take a hand, lend a hand, be in relationship. For then, while it may be unseen, you awaken all the temples, and the beings of light rejoice. So that is a very beautiful excerpt there. I'm not really going to add to that, other than, let me add right now, I am recording outside, so you're going to hear maybe helicopters, planes, dogs barking, all kinds of craziness going on around me. Should be entertaining. Anyway, really not much to add to that passage. It's beautiful, other than, when we're talking about temples, not only is there something like this, the imagery on the card, of course, evokes Stonehenge or something of the like, but also the temples within our body temple, so that's every single being and life force on this planet. But anyway, as far as the imagery, we do, of course, have the winding path symbolizing the journey, the spiritual journey, and also, to me, it evokes the winding upward, the ever spiraling upward of the upwardness of the evolution of the human consciousness, and it just becomes even more powerful. We've got the circle symbolism, the wheel, and that when we all link up and join hands, it just becomes even more powerful when we focus all of that energy coming out of the heart space. Just miracles, the miraculous happens, and we're able to tap into other worlds and dimensions even. I did pull out this card, and it just, just seemed so appropriate for right now, because the power of just holding a hand, a smile, it really is significant. That's enough to heal somebody. You hug somebody, that's enough to save a life, even if somebody's in a really bad way. So just keep that in mind, that there's far greater power in us coming together than in keeping us physically apart. No question. All right, so now we're going to get into the sky observation part of the show. Whether you're new or returning to this channel, I extend a heartfelt thanks and welcome. Thank you for being here. And also, if you are returning, you may want to just skip the next few minutes. I'm going to go over a little intro for anyone who's new if you want to hear it. You can also, invite you just to look at any of the other previous shows too for a little more depth on what I'm doing. But the basic version is that I go about my daily business day, or by day or night, and I take a good 360-degree look around me as I'm coming and going. Sometimes I'll also just go outside if I feel like there's a certain light quality, if I look out the window that just seems off or interesting, or sometimes I just get an impulse to go out and look up. And so I do. I look up and I take note of what's going on. And ever since 2018 especially, there's been a heightened increase of a lot of strange anomalies and things going on in the sky. Some people have noticed it as early as 2010, 2012. I got my first little glimpse at around 2014 of something really strange going on, but I kind of just brushed it under the rug, kind of forgot about it. But then in 2018, I had a very intense supernatural experience, let's just say, that basically, just short of having a neon arrow, said, start looking up and sharing the information. And that seemed pretty cryptic at the time. Didn't quite know what it meant. And then I had my first sighting, which, just clicked with me, like, okay, there's no way this could be in the sky naturally. And that shows up on my very first show, if you want to check that out. But anyway, since that time, I'm documenting what I see and sharing it with everybody. And I do take a little detailed narration to point out what I'm seeing. Now, when I put strange cloud activity in quotes and the little subtitles here, titles of the slides, sorry, I'm trying to get my cursor. I have cloud in quotes because I am talking about cloaking craft going on in the skies, more and more by the minute, really. It could be, when I say craft, it could also just be objects such as like sensors or instrumentation, but more often than not, I'm seeing fairly large craft or things that could be piloted. And I say that too because I've gotten evidence of machine parts like sticking out of these clouds, quote unquote clouds, and they're clear enough to even trace over and sketch over with sketch tools. And I have a great example of that in a previous show called Off-Field Sunset. Somewhere, I think around the middle part of the show, I've traced over what looks like a World War II battlecraft up in the sky, and there's right angles, there's very technical parts popping out of that thing. It's mostly cloaked as well, but you can really make it out. And so once I started seeing these things appearing in the sky, I just keep going with this until nothing else is showing up in the sky. But I'm finding it's the opposite. More and more is showing up. So, and this doesn't matter if you're in Miami, is the area I'm generally looking at. I have, wonderful lavender sky panther viewers locally and in places like Australia sending in some photos that just show this is happening all over the place. And I've, traveled upstate. It happens no matter what sky I look in. So it just shows you it's happening everywhere. And I don't get any bad vibes coming off this stuff. I've only had good experiences or just neutral or no feelings. So okay, that said, let's get into this show. Now, I'm looking northwest in the morning, and what caught my attention here was just how odd this little strand, seems to be connecting this overall body of quote-unquote cloud with this one over here. And we just have some strange movements, straight lines happening. This overall thing is not a typical look of a cumulus cloud. I've been on this planet for many decades, and I've never seen stuff that I'm starting to see now as far as cloud shapes, even perfect triangular forms and perfect octagonal forms, hexagonal, all kinds of things. So we're just getting a lot of strange stuff happening in the skies. So we look at this with enhancement, and when I say enhancement, I've just taken the photo and edited attributes of it, in this case in a PowerPoint platform. So I've just tweaked the brightness, contrast, and color saturation levels just a little bit, and bam, you get a whole new world of information popping up because our camera phones, I originally take this on an Android, an old Android, have just a vaster range of photo and light sensitivity, and we can really see some of these things. So anyway, right away I see, look at this at B.1, very curved line at the top. Looks like it echoes that, mirrors it below, kind of like a big lemon shape, a flattened lemon. But then we have a different object popping up over here with a different color signature. So it looks like something is, mounted on the top or riding on the top, piggybacked. Then we look down here. We have a very straight line at the top and the bottom. And then this looks like it's either a separate craft kind of tagging along, an elongated triangle, or maybe this is kind of an apparatus belonging to this craft. It looks almost like it could be a radar gun or some type of weaponry or scanner, who knows. And then up here we start to get a triangular shape. So there are a lot of oddities happening in this. There's actually an imprint of a triangle echoed behind this. So maybe this more solid object popped up out of there, or it's something else going on behind entirely. But see what you think is going on in this scene. It looks like a craft is kind of taken off back here too. We've got a solid form. It looks like it has a lighter, like a cloaking material wafting over it. Sometimes I'll refer to cloaking material also as plasma. I just mean something denser and heavier than water vapor that lingers around in the sky forever and can cloak things well when I say that. All right, so we're going to zoom in closer on that little element that looked like some kind of appendage. It's either a craft just sitting there kind of docked and poised on top of a deck of some greater, craft, bigger craft. Or, like I said, it could be some radar dish or some instrumentation sitting up on there. But I definitely see that. And again, because we've got a straight line here and a straight line here, it absolutely is looking like, the deck of a ship to me. And it even looks tethered, like onto this one, like docked to a bigger one, or vice versa. See what you think. And like I always say, if you have any ideas of what we're seeing here, feel free to leave, a comment in the comment section below, whether it's just fun and fantastical view of what it could be, or whether it's based in any kind of logic or reason. Okay, now we're going to look at this next set a little quickly, because there is stuff there, but it's not as easy to tell as some of the other stuff coming up. So when I looked to the east here in the morning, I just couldn't help but see there seemed to be a lot of fuss and energy and effort to camouflage what's going on here. If you follow my cursor, there was a slightly grayer, body going on here that was getting all the attention. Also something strange happening up at A. So when we look to the right-hand side at the enhanced version, I enhanced it in a way that I could get at what's going on up here, but then that, bleaches out what's going on below. So we're going to flip-flop that on the next slide and check out what's going below, and we're going to lose some of the information above. But anyway, right away, this is looking symmetrical, almost like a football goalpost or tuning fork. It's symmetrical. It looks a little more too much of a design, too much of a design is happening there for this just to be a haphazard cloud. We also look at the different color signature popping up. We've got more of a whiter thing going on with a darker background. Tells me there might be something going on. Also, we have darker kind of shadowy shapes happening in here at B and C. So I just get a sense, yeah, something is going on. Also, when it's very choppy and fuzzy up here to the human eye, but yet everything else is in focus to the human eye, I call that staccato cloud effect, or staccato cloud, because it tells me that something local in this area is generating all of this, disturbance. So I attribute that to some type of craft or multiple craft cloaking above that are either sending out electromagnetic wave activity or other types of waves. Maybe it's just to, maybe it's to deliberately cloak, the whole local atmosphere so, ships can hide easily in there. Or maybe it's just a byproduct or side effect of how it just operates with its power, or with its power source, or maybe it's a combination of both. I think it might be a combination of both. All right, so we're going to still get a look at this. I'm getting another slightly different view, of this thing that's starting to look like a big sphere. So if you follow the density of the clouds, they're like around the rim, and this is forming a bigger circle. Now we missed the top part of the circle because I think this is a different way to cloak that we've got heavy particulate and something else. So I think this does continue, but it's just kind of hiding behind something. And here it's being hidden by cloud cover, quote-unquote cloud cover. We still get a weird fuzziness and staccato effect happening up here, but let's focus on the lower portion for now. We move to the right-hand side to look at the enhanced version. And, it just really calls out that this is forming the outline of a circle, pretty clearly. And there is something darker gray, so there's some kind of body, I believe, being camouflaged and hidden back in there. So we're going to look at it again, zoomed in. This is the lower half being kind of veiled, and veiled maybe up here in a different way. We look to the right, and again, we see heavy veiling of something going on down here with different color signatures. We even get a weird little color signature popping out on its own here. And here too, we get some objects seem to be sticking out of something else, So See what you see in there. 8.1 gets real interesting too. Some type of craft activity, I believe, is happening there. See what you think. Now we're really zooming in on that lower half of that sphere that I was talking about. And again, to the human eye, you can see it's much bluer here and like a gray muddiness happening all down here. Coincidentally, in quotes, like in this ring-shaped form, like it's a half sphere of some other color and makeup. So here with some enhancement we see, we can see it. You see that muddy gray, and this is pure blue. So what is going on here? Then we've got like a crystalline triangular form happening up here. These little things might be little craft, cloaking craft, kind of moving off toward the right. They have a similar shape and feel and character to them. And again, that's not a typical cloud of any type. Then we have these little things. You see a little crystalline form, a straight edge. Again, that's not natural in cloud formation. So there's a lot of question marks on that one. Now we're going to look north-northwest, shift our eyes away from the east, and, strange cloud patterning happening up above at A, a weird thing happening down here at C. So we look to the right with enhancement. We pull a little more. There might be some type of darker object looming back in here. We've got, cloud cover in front of it. And then this is just a really strange, configuration here. That's not a typical cloud. And you look at the coloration of it, this dark, smoky effect. That's not a typical cloud as well. Then we get these little weird bright points happening off at C.1. That caught my attention. So we're going to look at that zoomed in with some enhancement. And look at, they're pretty equidistant in the spacing. It's pretty regularized, and it forms like this curve. And so, like the edge of a disc or something, and that's not natural in cloud formation. And so, there's enough here too to tip me off that there's got to be cloak and craft happening. Look at this. What's this thing? This anomaly up in the right-hand corner. And then we have like a trail. It looks like almost created by this dark object. This has an edge, sharp edge to it, doing a right angle with some shadowing below it. So I think that's also some type of tech. Something here as well. We got a straight edge. So anyway, the more you look, the more you're going to find. I only try to call out some major highlights. I try to get to as much as I can, but you're definitely going to find more than what I'm calling out. And the longer you look, you're going to find so much more. So now we're going to look to the north in the afternoon. And this just looked weird. These were really the only clumps of things happening. Got a really heavy veiled particulate happening behind here. Like we don't even see like much light backlighting. So I look to the right. Really, we're going to look at D and C right now, and you can see different color signatures. So there's more solid masses happening in here, showing me that something's absolutely cloaking. Then we get this red burst of red-pink signature. Hang on one second. Okay, I'm back. Then also note all the different color signatures. So this red-pink, I have some options or ideas down in the description box below, or theories of what could be happening there. Sometimes it looks like it's generated local. Sometimes it looks like it could be much bigger, happening off in the horizon or in our, let's say, planet's neighborhood. But anyway, we also get this weird smudge out white thing. Kind of looks very ethereal. It has, more concentration here, and it looks like it has like its own little field of energy coming behind it. Now that could be something phasing in and out of state or, dimension. So it's very different in character than these things, and yet it looks like that could also be some type of craft. But see what you think. All right, now this was an interesting scene looking south, again, like 2:30 in the afternoon. And just, there were these bright points to the human eye, dark points, or dark masses. Just look very interesting to me. Really dark here at D is what really caught my attention. It looks like there's a circle or sphere back there. And so with enhancement, we can find much more. So sure enough, D.1, look how dark that mass is, whatever it is, being cloaked beyond. Then we get other things. This has a very elliptical, like almost like a flat fish feel to it. Dark objects, are kind of strewn about this whole scene. But then we get these really bright burn spots, if you will, happening all over the place. And that just wouldn't happen at this time of day in this location, in this coordinate. So we also get some red-pink popping up, and we start to make out some shapes maybe. So we're going to push the enhancement on this even more to see what's going on. And D.2 holds true as some type of circle or object. We get a like a curved, this looks like a triangular form with some cloaking material on the back side of it. These look like dark objects of some type, and another one cloaking here beyond. We even get like a hole effect. It looks like the end of a tube with a hole. 8.2 looks more like a crystalline structure trying to emerge. a whiter thing in the shape of a triangular outline. And then we look at B and C, and these look like independent craft in their own right. We've got like two little peaks here. Looks like a triangular shaped wing or something. And then here, look at this. This looks like the front of a crab with the two arms coming to the fore, and they're symmetrical, except it looks like a technically generated, created thing. So I'm going to say we've got two craft in here and multiple craft all over the place. And again, notice that burst of red-pink energy. What's going on here? All right, then we're going to look also to this is now taking a bigger view from west to south. It's like a little bit of a distorted panorama, but at least we can catch a little bit more of what's going on with this overall scene. And then we look at it with some enhancement. We definitely have some kind of object happening here at B, and then a lot of disturbance happening all over here. But what really grabs my attention is 8.1, because we have like a bar-like element and a T, like a T-bar, the top of the T and then the stem. It's heading in there straight up perpendicular, and that does not happen in a cloud formation in nature. We also have a very straight line edge, straight edge here. So is this an object, or are we just catching, part of something else? You be the judge on that one. And now we're going to look at this, one more time, see if we can find anything else out of what's going on in here. And again, we get that red-pink signature. We get the top of a triangle. This looks like a bigger triangular form tucked in there. We get a sharp edge of a triangle over here, and little two, sharp points over here. So again, I'm going to say that in combination with the different color signatures going in, even to this white, very ethereal white cyan blue. And then again, this holds true, that T, formation. So again, I'm saying there's tech up there and that it's advanced technology, ET tech. All right, so now we're going to look at this view. This is looking east in the morning. What caught my attention on the original on the left-hand side was this interesting pattern being formed by these bright white, like hot spots over here too. And then, other strange stuff happening here below. So we look to the right, and look at this. This looks like intelligent design, symmetry of whatever is creating this light. And then even to the point where the void is a geometric shape. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So a pentagon. And then we have like a truncated, or it's probably just got cloaking material over it. It's probably just a straight up triangle. Look at the edges, they're all straight. Something else is happening back in here. We got the staccato cloud effect blurring all of this out. We have a form here that looks like a disc, with a little point protruding, toward us. We have a triangular shape here, which is absolutely symmetrical. If you follow my cursor, we get a straight edge. It kind of curves at the top, almost like a bell shape. Perfect, in its form. So this has got to be cloak and craft. And we have another like object here. See what you think's going on. I also see, look at these long cylindrical tubes, and it looks like it's got vapor trail coming behind it, and that this is either heading into vapor or leaving this way. Hard to say. See what you think. Okay, this one we're going to spend time looking really up at the top of this scene. We're going to look at it with enhancement. We see different color signatures popping out that look like machine parts, catching maybe a little more light than the rest of the darker body beyond and cloak. We have a straight line going down here if you follow my cursor. We have, weird things happening in here, popping out, look like little machine parts to me, and up here. And then we have these. If you look at these, if you follow my cursor, these little bands here, they're all fairly parallel and kind of springing out. They kind of like fingers almost, like coming out and bent down. So, and they're in a regular pattern and equidistant spacing. So to me, this is absolutely like a bigger craft of intelligent design. Then we're going to look over here, and there's a lot going on in this scene. I'm not going to touch on everything. I'm really kind of going to really come in and focus on F. Just looks strange, of a different color, different consistency. It looks like it's just perched on the top of whatever's going on here. But, amidst everything, we've got a sky imprint. Looks like a bigger triangular form in the back. Got these weird, like, bright points. This is forming like a ring, and this is shooting off and doing its own thing. Just a lot of strange stuff. And then this big, elliptical glare out in the back, kind of coming off on a weird angle. Just a lot of strange activity going on in here. And so we're going to zoom in on this F.2, because just again, the shape looks strange, the color is going to be different than what's going on below, and we've got a straight, or a slightly curved line. And if you're looking at this on a laptop screen, you'll see there's even like a very traced line, looks like a trajectory springing off this way. I do want to recommend that if you have the luxury of having a laptop and a smaller handheld device at your disposal, it's a good idea when you watch this show to look at a bigger screen and then toggle your eyes down and look at the tiny screen, the thumbnail version, and back and forth, because you're going to see things on the bigger format that you're not going to catch on the little, and vice versa. So when I narrate the show, I do it on the laptop. So that's why I say there might be stuff that I missed that I would have seen easily if I had the thumbnail version in front of me, but I don't. So see if you see anything that I don't see. Anyway, let's look at this with some enhancement. And here's what I mean. Look at this. It's a straight line, brighter brighter coloration along the edge, shadow below it. So it shows that we have some depth and dimension to whatever is going on in here. See what you think is happening in this scene. All right, now this one's interesting because just off at a distance, looking south, southeast, I'd say, in the morning, this was starting to look like a wedge-shaped craft to me. And then these strange, tubular, really flat little elements here, those aren't natural clouds. So anyway, I thought let's zoom in and look at this with some enhancement. They hold true. We still see these straight bars, long, skinny cylinder. Something else happening here. It looks like it has dimension to it. So we're going to zoom in and just look one more time. Now, if you're on a bigger screen, you're probably going to have to squint your eyes to see it because we're getting a little bitmappy. But this still holds true. There looks like there's a lot of detail and grooves on this thing. Looks like a craft to me, like heading this way, like the bow of it would be over here. And again, look how straight that thing is. That's like a stick. And then it continues, we have a longer, tube over here. And we have, this looks like a flattened, triangular element with it's either shooting something out or that's a trail coming behind it. Hard to say. Anyway, a lot of little oddities in here that caught my attention. I do think those are cloak and craft in the distance. Okay, this scene is looking south. Again in the morning, and what caught my attention was we've got bright white, but then smoky gray, white gray. I mean, there's no way that light physics would bend and work in a way that would have all of these within the same proximity with completely different character and color. So we look to the right-hand side, and we've got a weird fuzzy element at 8.1, a weird fuzzy white out over here where my cursor is. B.1's looking strange. So is this down here down by E. And E, we've got like this dark black, smoky look, but then we also have more warmer browns in here. So it's just all very strange. At the same time, we have these 3 points forming, like a triangle at D.1. What the heck is going on? So we zoom in a little more. These look like these might be objects in their own right, flying in formation. This is probably cloak and craft in here, as well as this. Look, we've got like a pointed ellipse. We've got this curved stick-like thing. There's no way that's a natural cloud. None. And then we have these weird things happening below. Can't tell you what's going on there, but see what you think. Also, this whiter object popping out looks like it has a hole or indentation in it, almost like a bead, and we're looking at the hole at the end of the bead. See what you see in this scene. Okay, this also looks strange, jumped out at me that we've got this like darker smoky character with white behind it. Let's look to the right. And here we go. We start to see a triangular shape with something attached to it or flying next to it. That's what I see. And then we get another little look at 8.1 down here. Look at this. Again, we got that stick, splaying off of this thing. To me, this is definitely cloak and craft. See what you think, though? All right, now this I just have up here, cloak and craft with visible machine parts. And it does. We're going to look at this element up here at A. You start to see a straight line, which is a shadow line with a curve around it of some like flat squared plate. And then we have tubular elements coming off of it. So this just looks too machine-like and so out of character with the rest of what's going on with the quote-unquote cloud below. There's also like a tube going this way. So I think there's multiple craft hiding in here. And here, C.1, you see that stick? Now look at A.1. We've got a clear edge or lip of the edge of a plate. Actually, now the more we look at it, this looks like a continuous arm, going 90 degrees attached to something else. So I believe that we're looking at the back or part of a ship emerging, or maybe this is the front. But we have a tube, another tube on top. These things are mounted on top of the plate. It looks very metallic, very machine-like. So I'm saying these are machine parts on top of a bigger craft. See what you think. Okay, now this was a strange scene looking east-southeast in the morning. What caught my attention was just all the strange movement, dark tracings with bright points in lines, the staccato effect, and then something strange shaped down here that's out of character with everything else, a little bright spot up at A. So we look to the right at the enhanced version, and we see something going on at 8.1. I'm not sure what, but it's pretty rigid. And then, we have this burst of activity of light energy doing some strange things that's not happening, down below where supposedly this quote-unquote sun is coming up. And then we have like a larger pointed elliptical thing kind of like, bearing down, heading down off of this, separating from it. So none of this is natural cloud. Again, I've lived on this planet for decades. I've, basically grew up living outside the whole time watching the skies. I've traveled around the world, lived in various places around the world. Haven't seen anything like this of what's emerging now these days. All right, so now we're looking south, and just this caught my attention right away. You see a triangle with straight edges. It's symmetrical. Same thing at sea. We're catching part of it. So we look to the right. They still hold true with our enhancement. So that's artificial. Friends, that's nothing, natural in the sky when you've got straight edges that are symmetrical, making a triangular form. And then, down here it looks like this is part of something bigger. Now, I don't know if this is like ghost cloaking, like coming in and out, and we're just seeing like the rim of it and not all the detail in there. I think so, though, because it looks like this is a larger ellipse that, comes around down this way. And I see textures and different things that just don't look normal for clouds. So I'm going to say that's a bigger cloaking object there. All right, this one gets interesting looking north. We have all of this going across, again, a little choppy, darker in color. And then all of this starts rising up much lighter and totally different character and consistency. And then I start to see an imprint of an elongated triangle at B. So look to the right at the enhanced version, and we see a triangle holding true at B.1. Strange stuff happening with different color signatures and the way this whole thing, the consistency of this is not like a real cloud, a natural cloud anyway. And then look at D.1, we get like this edge, straight edge with little like notches in it. Weird little things that look like maybe they're flying off of whatever's going on down here. See what you think is happening. I'm calling that cloak and craft of many types going on in there. Now this one on the left is interesting because we get a little bit of my favorite backlit situation in the afternoon looking west, and I see these darker objects start emerging, and then I see a straight stick and something that has a direct shape to it, an outline. So we look at the right hand version and what is going on here? So definitely this is artificial, whatever's going on with this thing, this shape. And then we have like a stick, and then look at this. What the heck is that? See what you think on that one. And also we get that red-pink signature again, and some little object kind of popping out at C.1. Weird texture all over the place down here. So there's got to be a lot of cloak and craft going on up there. Okay, then we're going to look at this view, looking west again. I started to see a triangular form right away. This is kind of, again, looking at a slightly different angle of what we just looked at, getting a more expanded view. And now look to the right, again, what is this stuff? What is this, that just doesn't happen in a natural cloud formation. This has a really straight edge here, by the way, looking like a rectangular form, looks part of a bigger thing. Straight edge here. This looks like a darker object behind cloak. That might be the part of a bigger triangle. All right, see what you think on that. All right, this one gets really interesting, and this is a zoom out of what's on the cover. So I started seeing this. It didn't even look like or feel like natural cloud billowing up very, very low in the sky, by the way. Far lower than any cumulus clouds ever used to come by. Again, I'm in Miami. It's tropical to subtropical weather, and we never had clouds this low. Anyway, it didn't feel like a true cumulus cloud, and it started behaving and morphing in weird ways. So I just caught this. It was much darker, and it was very round, and it had some quote-unquote cloud material like kind of forming over the top. And I really kept my eye on it because it just felt weird. And then we have something strange also happening up at A, little staccato effects starting. And it just got stranger by the minute. So when I put enhancement on it, what was interesting about this is I never get the green ranges like this all over the place. So I thought this was very special, and that's why I put it on the cover. The next, I think, slide or two is the cover one. So it was just really strange, this green kind of color I've been getting. And so I was still watching this little corner here. This was still getting strange, and now we see like a triangular form popping up right here. It just felt so darn strange. So I zoom in on that strangeness, that round place, I was keeping an eye on. And something else is happening back up in here. So with enhancement, I kind of got an eyeful here. This looks like a disc here on its side. But then the more I was looking, I'm like, oh my God, do we have like a sky kraken? because this looks like the bottom side of a tentacle with the suckers, little suction cups. And this could be an eye, and that could be the head. So I'm like, oh my gosh, did we catch a sky crack in here? Or is that just a coincidence, and that's some other machine parts of something? And that's like a disc on its side and not an eye. Anyway, see what you think. Zooming in on it, see, we've got a round form here and another roundish form within it. And then here is where it looked like to me like the bottom of a tentacle rolling up this way, where we would see the suction cups in here. See what you think is going on, though. It's fascinating, whatever it is. Okay, then we're going to look to the east, and this one's in the morning, and just look at all the weird choppy patterning in here. That's just not normal cloud, so we're going to look at it with enhancement. And sure enough, something is brewing in here, I would say. Don't really have any answers on this one, but this is looking like a very, pure form. We see a line coming here, so like a ship made of light, I would say. This would be the bow, and this looks like 2 legs or prongs on the back. See what you see? Okay, then here's an expanded view, looking northwest to east. Northwest is to the left, and the east is to the right. And so here we get that burst of whatever we were just looking at, that light body. And then look at, we've got like a triangular form where we were seeing all that disturbance. Weird stuff happening in here. This is where we saw what I'll just call it the sky cracking over here. This whole thing started morphing by the second and billowing up and getting so weird, like it was just springing up out of nowhere. And again, that never happens with cumulus clouds in this area, at least in the decades past, and it would be way higher up in the sky. And then we get that weird, disturbed activity at 8.1. Something looks like it's looming in here with a straight stick-like element on it. We've got like a triangular form over here with something else. Looks like it's approaching it or it's attached to it. Who knows? See what you see. The bottom version is just the original. The top is the enhanced. Look at the color signatures as well. Now we're going to zoom back in. I'm going to go back a second. Now we'll zoom in over on this right-hand side of the photo. And this is what we get. So we get this range of purples and indigos. And then, bam, just after this little coincidental line. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Coincidental line of, I'll call camouflage cloak, cloud. Then it's like really bright and intense yellow. So what the heck is going on? Very fascinating. I am calling all of this really bizarre kind of advanced ET cloaking craft technology and movement. Right now we're going to look northwest also in the morning. And again, we're still just kind of trying to catch what's going on with this scene. This is that weird area up at A. And now we'll look at it to the right. And it seems like some kind of form wants to come out. It looks more or less like a ball, maybe somewhat spherical shape, with some type of maybe cloaking technique over it, or I don't know what's going on. See what you think. All right, then we're going to look east-southeast, still in the morning, and then this is what we get. So definitely something's going on to generate this red-pink activity, right next to what we've got gold going on. And something strange is happening here as well. That is not typical cloud behavior. Okay, now we're going to look at this to the west-northwest, same time, and we've got the edge of that system where we had that sky cracking, but now we have these 2 things popping up. These look like objects at the top of this rim of whatever's going on here, and we look with enhancement, and boy, do we see much more. So again, these are pretty rigid shapes. I'm going to call that intelligent design at C and D. Something else looks like it's like flying in with cloaking material around it. And then we've got some weird patterning going on in here with very staccato activity. So see what you think is going on in there. We're zooming in on those 2 little objects on the rim. And look at that straight line, very triangular in character. What is going on here? See what you think. All right, now this one is looking northwest toward the evening. And there just seemed to be a really weird buildup and form, here. So it looks like a triangular form here with a straight line coming across. But it looks like the overall, like this belongs to whatever's going on down here is what it felt like. And then we have this weird splay of stuff, kind of reaching up this way. It was just really bizarre. Lots of different types of clouds. And then these weird smudge outs of things. Looks like they're heading down this way as well. So we look at it with enhancement. And at A, I definitely see either 2 separate craft rolling in, or these are prongs and part of like a bigger craft, hard to say. We get a sky imprint over here. We get this thing again, looks like a very detailed cloaking pattern to me for whatever this thing is. Looks like that's, the top of it is like starting to emerge and go up this way. A lot of activities happening over here. I'm not exactly sure what is going on though. Looks like a darker object back in here as well, or that's part of this overall mass. Hard to say. But we're going to zoom in on this thing and look at, we start to really see that looks like a curved form over here. We start to see, look at this shape, whatever that's doing. This looks like the top of a deck or like the surface top of a skin of whatever this massive craft is. This is a stumper. See what you see in this. All right, well, this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. I'm just calling this an exquisite tree, reaches for the heavens, and it's just a beautiful perspective of, how these beautiful, elegant trees were reaching up for the sky with a beautiful canopy above. This was a strangler fig kind of starting to grow on the side of it. So I do want to talk about the positive aspects of the number 33, as I mentioned to you on the very first slide. And I just want to take a quote from Angel Numbers, Joanne Angel Scribes. If you just look that up on the internet and type in any number or a number combination that you're interested in, just do that. So type that in with the number at the end. Some people are seeing 111 or 1111s or 333, 222, any combination of numbers. Just type it in and you get some nice descriptions about it. So the positive aspects of the number 33, I'll just quote it from her site. The master number 33 is connected to the ascended masters. Be prepared to expand and increase your spiritual development and awareness. And that's just a tiny excerpt. She really writes a nice long description. I just took that out of there. So I want to say thanks for looking up at some things here a while with me today. It is Tuesday, so I wish all of you a beautiful week ahead. More importantly, a gorgeous now. And as always, I send all of you, each and every one of you, tremendous peace and love. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.